What if I told you that Tesla, yes, Tesla, just got blindsided by a surprise move from Africa? For years, we have all seen Tesla dominate electric vehicles, but now Ghana's self-powered car is shaking up the game. This is bigger than you think. Imagine a world where charging stations are obsolete, the roads are rugged, and a car can power itself. Sounds impossible, right? Then how did Ghana do it? Why is Tesla in shock? And is this the future of sustainable transport for everyone? Stay with me, because in this video we are diving deep into the story behind Ghana's audacious leap into electric vehicle territory, Tesla's reaction, and how it could change your perspective on what is possible. Trust me, once you see what Ghana has created, you will never look at electric cars the same way again. Truly, everything changes. Ghana's bold EV surprise. Ghana has just unveiled a self-powered electric vehicle, built locally and designed specifically for Africa's unique needs. While Tesla has long been considered the leader in electric vehicle innovation, this unexpected development from a country not traditionally known for car manufacturing has sent shockwaves through the industry. Tesla, with its cutting-edge technology, global presence, and billion-dollar research and development teams, did not anticipate a challenger coming from Africa. Yet, this new vehicle is not just another electric car. It is something completely different. It is engineered to be self-sustaining, capable of functioning without relying on an extensive charging network, something even Tesla has yet to achieve. The moment this car was unveiled in Ghana, word spread quickly. Industry insiders, automotive experts, and electric vehicle enthusiasts began to take notice. Some saw it as an inspiring leap in African innovation, while others wondered whether it could truly compete with established giants. And then, inevitably, Tesla caught wind of it. Tesla's executives and engineers are no strangers to competition. But this was something new. They have been focused on refining their supercharger networks, expanding battery life, and increasing the efficiency of their vehicles, all while assuming that charging infrastructure would be a necessary part of the equation. But now, a self-powered car built for African roads challenges that assumption. If a small team of innovators in Ghana can accomplish this, what does it mean for the future of electric vehicles worldwide? This is more than just a technological milestone. It is a wake-up call. It is proof that the future of sustainable transport might not be led solely by Silicon Valley or European automakers. Instead, the shift could come from unexpected places, where necessity and resourcefulness breed true innovation. And that raises the next big question. How does a country with no major presence in the global electric vehicle industry suddenly create something that even Tesla has not? The answer lies in an age-old story, one where a resourceful underdog takes on an industry titan in ways no one saw coming. Underdog versus Titan, David and Goliath of EVs. How can a small Ghanaian automaker stand up to a giant like Tesla? This is not your typical David and Goliath story. It is more electrifying. Ghana's new electric vehicle is the product of local ingenuity, like a small startup or a team of engineers determined to solve a problem that Tesla has ignored. The contrast could not be more striking. Tesla dominates the market with luxurious, high-performance electric cars designed for regions with established infrastructure. Meanwhile, this Ghanaian-made vehicle is built for an entirely different purpose. It is practical, rugged, and most importantly, independent of charging stations. That is where things get interesting. Despite its size and dominance, Tesla has a blind spot, one that Ghana's self-powered car has exposed. Tesla's model relies heavily on a growing network of superchargers, making it dependent on a well-functioning power grid. But in many parts of the world, especially in Africa, charging stations are scarce and power access is unreliable. The new Ghanaian car was not created to compete with Tesla's premium models. It was built to thrive where Tesla would struggle. This raises an even bigger question. Could Tesla's dominance be more fragile than we think? If small independent automakers can develop solutions that do not rely on charging infrastructure, does Tesla need to rethink its approach? More importantly, will Tesla respond? Or will it assume that its technological advantage is enough to stay ahead? If the auto industry has taught us anything, it is that disruption does not always come from where you expect it. And in this case, Tesla's toughest challenge might not be from another tech giant. It could be from an entirely different part of the world that is designing vehicles for the next wave of global transportation needs. But before Tesla can even consider its response, it has to recognize something crucial. Africa is not just another market, it is a key market. And if Tesla does not take it seriously, others will. Eyes on Africa. Why Tesla cares about a Ghanaian car. Tesla has spent years expanding into markets like North America, Europe, and China, but Africa has remained largely off its radar. And that might be its biggest oversight yet. Africa is one of the last great untapped markets for electric vehicles. With over 1 billion people, rapidly growing economies, and increasing urbanization, the demand for transportation is soaring. However, Africa has one fundamental challenge that has held back electric vehicle adoption: limited charging infrastructure. This is where Ghana's self-powered car changes everything. Unlike Tesla's vehicles, which require a growing network of charging stations, this new innovation eliminates that need entirely. It is a car built for a continent where electricity access is inconsistent, where long-distance travel often happens through areas with no charging stations, and where affordability matters more than high-end luxury features. Tesla has already struggled with infrastructure challenges in some emerging markets. The company has invested heavily in superchargers, but those are only viable in regions with stable grids. Africa presents a different challenge altogether, one that Tesla has not yet figured out how to solve. But Ghana's new car has. This is why Tesla cannot afford to ignore this development. If an African-made electric vehicle gains traction, it could shift consumer expectations across the continent. Instead of waiting for Tesla to build superchargers, African consumers might prefer cars that do not need them at all. If this innovation spreads beyond Ghana, Tesla could find itself struggling to gain a foothold in one of the fastest-growing automotive markets in the world. The real question is no longer whether Tesla sees Africa as a market worth pursuing. It is whether Africa will need Tesla at all. And if there is one person who might be thinking about this more than anyone, it is the man at the top, Elon Musk's take. Tweets, tensions, and silence. Whenever something unexpected happens in the world of electric vehicles, Elon Musk is usually quick to comment, whether it is an emerging competitor, a bold technological claim, or a surprising market development. Musk is known for sharing his thoughts, sometimes with excitement, sometimes with skepticism, and sometimes with outright dismissal. So what has he said about Ghana's self-powered car? Nothing. And that silence speaks volumes. If Musk had dismissed it outright, it could mean Tesla saw no threat. If he had praised it, it could have signaled that Tesla was paying attention and possibly interested in collaborating. But the fact that there has been no official Tesla reaction, no tweet, no press release, no offhand remark, suggests that this development is being discussed internally before Tesla makes a move. Musk has a history of reacting to unexpected competition in two ways. Either he downplays it, or he quickly pivots to address it. When new electric vehicle startups gained traction, Tesla responded by improving its technology even further. When China's electric vehicle industry surged, Tesla built a factory there to secure its place in the market. So what happens when an innovation comes from Africa? Tesla could respond in multiple ways: ignore it and continue with business as usual, attempt to out-innovate it by developing a low-cost, self-sustaining model, or even explore ways to collaborate with Ghanaian engineers. Right now, all eyes are on Musk. Will he acknowledge this breakthrough? Will Tesla adapt? Or will this moment mark the beginning of a shift where Africa starts leading its own electric vehicle revolution? Without Tesla at the forefront, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. Ghana's EV marvel, the science behind self-charging. What does it mean when we say that this car powers itself without ever needing a traditional charging station? This groundbreaking car sprang from a bold idea. What if conventional electric vehicles, hamstrung by unreliable grids and limited chargers, could be redesigned for true independence? Ghanaian engineers took that question and transformed it into reality. Instead of relying on a fragile charging network, their vehicle captures and stores its own power through a mix of solar integration, regenerative braking, and ultra-efficient battery technology. These innovations allow it to operate in remote areas for extended periods without ever plugging into an external source. The unveiling itself was a stunning moment. Observers, expecting another standard electric car announcement, discovered a self-sustaining machine built specifically for African roads. Its rugged frame, paired with advanced power harvesting systems, offered a glimpse of a future where one can drive anywhere, no grid required. This approach is not merely a scientific curiosity. It undercuts the biggest hurdle Tesla and others face in places with scarce infrastructure. While Tesla invests in superchargers, this Ghanaian marvel bypasses the need for them altogether. Yet, despite its futuristic feel, the technology under the hood is grounded in practical engineering. Solar panels soak up Africa's abundant sunlight, while regenerative braking recycles energy whenever the driver slows down. In certain models, a kinetic energy recovery system captures motion from the wheels to recharge internal batteries. By combining these techniques, the car builds enough charge for short-range commutes and even long-distance journeys under the right conditions. All this is done with local materials and assembly, keeping costs down and maintenance straightforward. Rather than aiming to outperform luxury electric sedans in top speed or software features, this project focuses on utility and freedom, offering an energy solution that fits the environment. Its real power lies in its adaptability. It can roam for hours without seeking a single charging port. Some say it feels like a sci-fi invention, but for Ghanaians looking to travel reliably, it is a practical game changer. The next logical question is how this innovative design translates into everyday life, especially across a continent where roads can be rough, fuel prices high, and electricity far from guaranteed. And does this now mean Ghana has solved the biggest challenge facing electric vehicles? It certainly presents a fascinating alternative to the grid-dependent approach taken by companies like Tesla. However, as exciting as this innovation is, skepticism remains. Can this technology really hold up in day-to-day conditions? Or is there more testing needed before the world fully embraces self-powered electric vehicles? Too good to be true. Expert, take in skepticism. A car that generates its own power sounds like a dream come true, but could it be too good to be true? When something sounds revolutionary, it is natural for experts to ask the tough questions. Does this technology truly work as advertised? Or is there a catch? Skepticism is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it is what pushes innovations to become even stronger. Some industry observers have pointed out that self-charging electric vehicles have been attempted before, but none have achieved large-scale success. For example, there was a case in Zimbabwe where an inventor claimed to have developed a car powered by radio waves, only for the idea to later be dismissed due to the laws of physics. So how is Ghana's vehicle different? The key is verified technology. Solar-powered cars already exist in various forms, and regenerative braking is widely used in many electric and hybrid vehicles. The difference here is how these elements are combined to create a fully independent driving system. Despite the promise, some experts remain cautious. Questions still linger about long-term reliability, efficiency, and cost-effectiveness. How much energy can the solar panels generate on a cloudy day? Will the batteries degrade over time? These are challenges that will need real-world testing and validation before the technology can be widely adopted. But here's the thing, Ghana is not making empty claims. The car has been showcased, driven, and tested. The fact that a working prototype exists and is performing well under local conditions is a strong indication that this is not just hype. Of course, there is still more work to be done, but what we are seeing now is an innovation that is far beyond theory. It is already in motion. The next question is even more exciting. Why Ghana? Why is this breakthrough happening here instead of in the research labs of billion-dollar automakers? The answer lies in the unique challenges that African drivers face and how necessity has driven innovation. Still, even with all this excitement, a deeper look at the science is necessary. That is where careful, data-driven research comes in, testing how these systems hold up under harsh weather, rough roads, and day-to-day wear. If it passes those trials, we might just be witnessing a paradigm shift in how electric vehicles are designed for emerging markets. After all, true breakthroughs often start where the world least expects them. Moreover, while skeptics raise valid points about longevity and scalability, Ghana's engineers appear committed to rigorous trials before claiming a global revolution. They are open to external reviews, peer feedback, and cross-collaboration to refine any weaknesses in energy capture or battery life. Ultimately, this deliberate approach may be the factor that cements the self-powered concept as a real contender in sustainable transportation, one that can thrive not only in Africa, but also wherever traditional charging solutions fail to reach. Now, the next question is even more exciting. Why Ghana? Why is this breakthrough happening here instead of in the research labs of billion-dollar automakers? The answer lies in the unique challenges that African drivers face. and how necessity has driven innovation. Built for Africa, solving local problems. Why did such a transformative electric vehicle emerge in Ghana rather than in a global tech hub? The answer might be simpler than you think. Necessity can inspire breakthroughs that big corporations overlook. Africa's roads often span vast distances, weaving through rural regions where neither charging stations nor reliable power sources exist. Traditional electric vehicles, from Tesla or other global manufacturers, struggle in places with little infrastructure to support them. Ghanaians recognized this gap and created a car that meets people where they are. More than a flashy showcase of tech, this self-powered EV directly tackles day-to-day challenges: minimal fuel access, irregular electricity, and the sheer expense of maintaining imported vehicles. Instead of waiting for foreign companies to build an expansive grid of chargers, Ghanaian engineers designed a vehicle capable of generating its own energy wherever it goes. Yes, the cutting-edge tech under the hood plays a major role, but the heart of this car lies in understanding how people in remote areas actually live and commute. Higher ground clearance for bumpy roads, locally sourced parts that can be serviced by nearby mechanics, and an emphasis on fuel-free travel all mirror the realities of African drivers. Far from a mere competitor to Tesla, the project redefines electric transportation for conditions that Tesla has not fully addressed. By removing the need for massive charging infrastructure, it unlocks mobility in regions where range anxiety would be constant. More than that, it ignites a sense of pride and ownership within communities, showing that innovation can and should come from those who most urgently need it. This is not about dethroning established auto giants overnight. It is about crafting a solution that genuinely works in Africa, and by extension, other emerging markets around the world. After all, when a car can thrive off-grid, it becomes a viable option for anyone tired of high fuel costs, rolling blackouts, or unbuilt charger networks. And if this innovation continues to develop, the world will have no choice but to take notice, because what started as a local solution for African roads could soon change how the entire world thinks about electric vehicles. And when you are talking about world dominance, there is one name that you just can't seem to escape: China. Will they take notice? China is the global powerhouse of electric vehicles, manufacturing millions of units each year. With advanced battery technology, government subsidies, and an extensive charging network, it has positioned itself as the epicenter of the electric revolution. But what happens when a small innovation from Africa disrupts that dominance? A self-powered car, designed and built in Ghana, has entered the conversation, and it is impossible to ignore. Chinese automakers, known for their rapid response to industry trends, are undoubtedly watching. This car presents something they have dabbled in: solar-assisted charging, kinetic energy recovery, and alternative power solutions, but never perfected. While Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers have focused on range and fast charging infrastructure, Ghana's innovation takes a different approach: complete independence from the grid. This is where the intrigue begins. China's engineers might be drawn to the concept, viewing it as an opportunity to expand their technological reach. They have the resources to refine and mass-produce similar technology at an unprecedented scale. If Ghana's approach proves viable, Chinese automakers could integrate self-charging features into their next-generation vehicles. With their ability to commercialize technology faster than any other nation, a shift toward self-sufficient electric vehicles might happen far sooner than expected. But there is another possibility. China could see this as a competitive threat. If a car can thrive without the need for widespread charging infrastructure, what does that mean for China's expansive charging network investments? Billions have been poured into building an electric vehicle ecosystem that relies on frequent charging stops. A shift towards self-powered electric vehicles could challenge the long-term necessity of these networks. While most Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers would welcome innovation, the companies tied to battery swapping stations, superchargers, and grid-based charging might see this as a disruption rather than an opportunity. Then there is China's vested interest in Africa itself. Chinese firms have made significant investments in African infrastructure, including roads, railways, and even local automobile manufacturing. If an African-built electric vehicle gains momentum, it could reshape China's automotive strategy in the region. Instead of simply exporting cars to Africa, Chinese manufacturers might look to partner with African innovators, or even acquire emerging technologies. After all, if Africa is developing its own solutions, why should China remain just a supplier? Ghana's self-powered car is not just a new vehicle. It is a challenge to the way the world thinks thinks about electric mobility. And while Chinese automakers are evaluating their response, another group of innovators is also taking notice. Across Europe and North America, where electric vehicle infrastructure is well established, engineers and investors are beginning to ask the same question. Could this small African breakthrough change the way they approach electric vehicle development? The West's surprise. Europe and America react. Across the Atlantic, in the design labs of Germany, the boardrooms of Detroit, and the technology hubs of California, news of Ghana's self-powered vehicle is creating an unexpected stir. In the West, electric vehicle development has followed a clear trajectory: bigger batteries, faster charging, and wider networks. But now, an innovation that does not require frequent external charging is challenging that narrative. In Europe, where companies like Volkswagen, BMW, and Renault are aggressively expanding their electric vehicle lineups, the Ghanaian breakthrough raises important questions. The European market has been built around the assumption that charging stations will be as common as fuel pumps. But what if that assumption is flawed? If an electric vehicle can sustain itself with minimal external charging, could that shift the priorities of European manufacturers? While European automakers have experimented with solar-assisted charging, they have never considered eliminating reliance on charging networks altogether. Now Ghana has done just that. The reactions in North America are even more intriguing. Tesla, General Motors, and Ford are the dominant players, each pushing the boundaries of electric vehicle range and efficiency. But their strategies still rely on vast charging infrastructure. If an electric vehicle can function independently of charging stations, it presents an entirely new way of thinking. Tesla, the industry leader, has spent years refining its supercharger network. But what if that infrastructure was no longer necessary? Investors and analysts are beginning to wonder whether this could be a game-changing shift in electric vehicle design philosophy. The response is not limited to automakers alone. Tech entrepreneurs and energy companies are paying attention. Could this innovation influence the way solar energy is integrated into transportation? Might companies specializing in off-grid solutions find a new market in electric vehicles? The ripple effect extends far beyond the automotive sector. Beyond the boardrooms and laboratories, the public reaction is also worth noting. Electric vehicle enthusiasts, who often debate the future of charging technology, are now discussing an entirely different possibility: a future where electric vehicles are truly self-sustaining. Social media is abuzz with speculation, some skeptical, some excited, but all intrigued. While Ghana's self-powered car is still in its early stages, the conversation it has sparked is undeniable. The West, long seen as the leader in automotive innovation, is now watching an African nation rewrite the rules. And with that realization, a new question emerges. If Ghana can develop a self-powered car, what is stopping other developing nations from following suit? Missing on the map: Tesla's absent footprint in Africa. You can find Tesla's vehicles dominating the streets of California, lighting up charging stations in Europe, and weaving through the bustling roads of Shanghai. But in Africa, Tesla is almost nowhere to be found. And that might be its biggest oversight yet. Despite being a leader in electric vehicles, Tesla has barely scratched the surface of Africa's market. There are no Tesla gigafactories on the continent, no extensive supercharger networks, and only a handful of vehicles imported by enthusiasts. It is a glaring absence, especially considering Africa's growing population, rising demand for transportation, and abundant renewable energy potential. The company has focused its expansion efforts on North America, Europe, and parts of Asia, seemingly convinced that Africa was not a priority. But here is where things take a turn. While Tesla has been absent, local innovators in Africa have been stepping up. Ghana, in particular, has now introduced a self-powered electric vehicle designed specifically for the continent's unique conditions. Unlike Tesla's approach, which relies on extensive charging infrastructure, this new vehicle eliminates that need entirely, and Tesla might be starting to realize what it has missed. The logic is simple. If a major company ignores an emerging market for too long, someone else will fill the gap. Africa's roads tell a story of necessity-driven innovation, where practical, affordable, and locally designed solutions thrive. The rise of Ghana's self-powered car is a direct response to the challenges that Tesla never addressed: long travel distances, limited charging stations, and the need for energy independence. This is not just a car. It is a statement that Africa does not have to wait for global corporations to dictate its future. Tesla's absence created an opening, and Ghana's engineers seized it. But now the question is no longer whether Africa is ready for electric vehicles. It is whether Tesla is ready to adapt. If this moment has taught the company anything, it is that innovation does not just happen in Silicon Valley. And as Tesla watches Ghana's breakthrough unfold, one thing is becoming clear: it will have to make a move. The only question is, will it fight back or find a way to fit in? What do you think? Thanks for watching.